Drywallers, shot callers, and everyone in between. Drywall fighting. And we've got a killer gorilla on the loose and a RoboCop special unit group that's going to take him down. We've got Jared Cannonier taking on Gregory Rodriguez. It's going to be a banger. I almost feel like I'm back like in my comfort zone. I know that last week's card, being a PPV, but it wasn't. It didn't really feel like a PPV because of some of the star power. But this right here, UFC Fight Nights, Vegas. This is my comfort zone. Like this is this is your hometown after you get a felony because you thought you could make it big in LA. You come back to your comfort zone. You come back to your base. And that's what these fight nights are for me. And I'm really excited. There's a lot of new names. A lot of loser leaves town, I feel like. And yeah, it's going to be a banger. As always, Drywall crowd, like, comment, subscribe. I don't need your love. I just need your heart. Just make sure that you rattle the cages of the algorithm a little bit. But let's get started. Let's go. I'm actually really excited about this card. I think that it's gonna have some great prospects. And it is gonna have some fights that check to see where people are, both, from top to bottom, I think, in terms of like guys going up the ladders in their respective weight classes. I think that there's a lot of names here that they have some people to go through. Even, main event, I believe that it's sort of a passing of the guard as well. You can make that argument. So, yeah, there you have it. There's the graphic. It looks like they're underwater. Yeah, which I think is kind of cute. I think I like that. I think they're pretty good swimmers. So that makes sense. All right, let's start it off. Julia Avila taking on Jacqueline Cavalcanti. I wanted to start it here with Julia because this is an old head. This is an old head right here, and not a very active one. Not a very active one. It's been a bit. She is over that 35 limit. That sort of age range that you look at for fighters. And her style is definitely not one that wears or ages gracefully. On the other side, we have a Portuguese dog. I mean, she's so great at keeping that poker face, that sort of composure. Cavalcanti really is a treat to watch. 27 years old, about to reach, the prime of her career. And this chick has got great striking. She also, whenever she has gotten tested with some of the takedown attempts, for instance, I believe Cornell kind of shot on her. She's been able to fare well. She's now had 3 fights in the UFC against not the best competition. I will say that. Like Nora Cornell, you could say is good, but Nora is just a brawler. So there is reason to believe that maybe this will be a tough fight for Cavalcanti, or that it is a step up in terms of, hey, you're going to fight somebody a little bit more seasoned in the cage that has that track record, that has fought really high level gals. Yeah, I think that, and I haven't looked at the odds. Oh yeah, I'm doing that same thing that we did for 12. That I'm gonna just go into it blind. We gotta do our pick. Hold on. We're gonna do the picks. Edit picks. Okay. So we're gonna do this live here. And I'm gonna go Cavalcanti. Dude, I want to say she knocks her out. But she doesn't. It's going to be an overwhelming decision. And I think Cavalcanti brings it home. That's the other thing. I was going to look at the odds because I wanted to. Yeah, Jacqueline Cavalcanti minus 675. So, yeah. Steep number. I do think it is. I mean, it's merited. Not Not going to say it's not. Moving on. Walter Walker taking on Don'Tale Mayes. Both the Walker brothers are just need to be studied, I think. Need to be studied for different reasons, because Walter does have a bit of danger to him, and he did look like he was all right on the feet. He was mediocre, so that's a big step up from where he has been. And then he has a nasty ground game. Like, he's able to find some pretty unique stuff, as we saw with that Tafa fight. But he's taking on Don'Tale Mayes. This, I think, is a loser leaves town fight. I know that Walter has only got 2 fights in the UFC, and Don'Tale definitely has more of a track record. However, I think that homie Don'Tale, who I think that he at one point rode to the belt, right? He has fought he's fought, I would say, the who's who of, heavyweight contenders, up and coming contenders. Like, he's had to fight Gaziev, I believe. Who was it recently that it was like Don'Tale is able to stay in these fights? Yeah, Kyle Machado, Rodrigo now a 205er, Rodrigo Nascimento, who is like, just the most guys that are always thinking that they're going to get to that next upper echelon, but just don't. Maybe Shamil is going to be there. Shamil back to road to the belt. However, yes, at one point, I thought that this guy was not too bad. He is, however, getting a little bit older. His style, I don't really think he's invested. I don't know. He has gotten a little bit better on the ground. Like, he was able to survive Shamil. He did get laid on, but he was able to survive getting tapped, which I know is not the biggest props you can give a fella. However, yeah, I believed in this man a little bit. I liked his outside leg kick, and he's got a little bit of boxing, right? So, but I think that this fight is actually kind of messed up. I think that this fight's actually kind of jacked up because they are finally going to give him somebody that is going to overwhelm him on the ground. And I think that it is just to raise Walter Walker's star. I think that the UFC knows that there are H-Town, like that. There's guys out there that have soft spots for guys from H-Town that are mostly striking and are absolutely helpless on the ground. Yeah, so they know that Don'Tale's name still has a little bit of meaning to it, but they also know that there's a glaring hole in his game, and Walter's going to exploit it. I think he taps him. I think he taps him early. All right, moving on. Vince Morales fought his way back into the UFC, old timer, taking on first fight in the UFC, 22 years old, Elijah Smith. I'm going to go ahead and just pick who I think is going to win, because I think that I need to more explain myself here, because I think people are going to look at this and no, it's either going to be like, this is a pick'em. See, this is where it's interesting. I think that this is either a pick'em, or people think that the young kid is just going to absolutely bulldoze the old dog. Like, I think that it's more of a, I think it's the latter. No, it's a pick'em, pretty much, but it's Elijah Smith. I am going to go with Elijah Smith because I think that this is going to be pretty much a replay of his Contender Series fight. It's going to be a tough guy that is pretty one-dimensional and that you can overwhelm or at least find routes to victory by mixing up the game plan. Because the maniac that Elijah Smith was locked into the cage with for his Contender Series fight, look at this guy. Aaron Tao, this guy deserves a contract in the UFC, by the way. Look at this man. And he's like he's honestly underwhelming. He is very underwhelming. However, he is very tough and he has quite a gas tank. Like at the beginning of the fight, and he's gone on to win. He's gone on to go back to his little promotion in Australia. It looks like a different promotion, but yeah, he is pretty. He's tough. He's very, very tough, and he did open the fight against Jeremiah like slow. Jeremiah took him down, kind of was able to do whatever he wanted in terms like yeah, he had some takedowns and he was able to snatch up that first round pretty easily. Second round though, at the end of it, that's when I believe Tao started like picking it up. And then by the third round, Elijah did get dominated. So I understand it wasn't dominant. He got big dog. Like he got emotionally dominated more so. Like he was getting walked down, sure. It wasn't like I never thought that he was gonna get put out. But he's definitely aura. He was definitely getting aura hijacked by Aaron Tao. And I know that's probably why the line is this way. However, this guy comes from, I believe his dad was a UFC fighter, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, he was, I think. Yeah. And so I think that this kid's really, he's a clever fighter who wasn't able to, from what I've seen, he is truly, and he's got great hands, I think. He's got better wrestling for sure. However, you got to suspect that that secondary sort of element, striking, gets much better. You know, that's usually how these young fighters go. And Vince Morales, he is tough. He's had a bunch of fights in the UFC, got cut, came back. I just don't think he has that push on the gas anymore. I think that he can get pressured. He can probably get taken down, held a little bit, and he's not going to be able to. Yeah, definitely not after he got that. Definitely not after Elijah Smith got locked in there with like the psychopath that is Tao. Like, I don't think that Vince is going to be able to emotionally put any sort of like dominance on him, right? Like he's not going to hold that superiority with the momentum, because I think that Elijah has now felt that and he now knows like how to manage that. I just believe that in this kid, I think he's a solid prospect. I'm going to go ahead and pick him by decision. I don't think he could knock him out. I think he could knock him out, but I'm going to go with him by decision. I think it is tough. It is a tough fight, so it's not something for him to overlook. It's just, I think this is a good fight to elevate Elijah's star. Moving on, we got Gabriel Bonfim taking on Chaos Williams. Yeah, this is another one that I'm just going to pick, and I don't really think I need to defend myself here. I don't know if I need to defend myself. That's tough, though. It is tough. I'm going to say he decisions, but I am going to go Chaos because I'm a Chaos. I've become a Chaos Williams truther. Not that Carlston Harris is like the best win, right? But Carlston Harris, I think he's very athletic. He's got great striking, has pinpoint boxing. And I am just a Gabriel Bonfim denier. I'm a Gabriel Bonfim denier. I think he got the heat check against Nicholas Dalby. If you've been following my writing, which you definitely fucking should, because I don't know. Anyways, if my blog, I wrote about this Nicholas Dalby. I thought that he was going to get heat checked by Nicholas Dalby. I think that both the Bonfim brothers, their star does not match the fire that they actually have. I think that it's a gimmick. Like it's one of those typical Dana things where it's like, oh, they're brothers. Huh. Like, how awesome is that? You know, like these two high level, yeah, just stupid. And yeah, and then he goes on and puts on a snooze fest against Angelusa. And Angelusa is not some scorched earth guy that's gonna, oh wow, it's like taking him to decision. It's still something, means something, right? Like, no, not at all. I like Chaos Williams here. I want to say he knocks him out, but I think he does decision him. I think that Gabriel starts going to his wrestling, and he's able to, survive Chaos. Yeah, it's going to be a good fight, though. And I really think that, yeah, it is going to be interesting. Speaking of Dana, who's always taking money out of my pocket with his awful, just awful decisions, and his his insistence on backing Power Slap. Yeah. So I like this because this is going to be one of those contenders that he wants to like throw in there, and it's like, oh, whoa, wait a minute, son. Wait a minute. And I think, yeah, this is the beginning of the end for Gabriel Bonfim. Moving on, we got Rafael Estevam taking on Jesus Aguilar. Rafael Estevam has beaten Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson, friend of the program, Skullet Gang or die. Skullet Gang or fucking die. Like, he's beaten him. Obviously, Charles rallied massively in that third round, almost got him out of there. Super exciting fight. However, this guy is high level, and he's taking on Pedro Aguilar. Loser leaves town. More like, hey, this is mincemeat for Rafael. He has had a bit of a layoff, if I'm not mistaken, right, Rafael? And Jesus is coming off underdog win against Scott Driscoll, that guy, Nichols or whatever. And he was like, it was his first fight. Everybody was like super high on that Australian. And then he just got heat checked brutally with wrestling. Stuart Nichols, yeah, with wrestling. When a Mexican is giving you wrestling room, I think it's time to pack it up. It's, brush off the old Indeed password and user login, right? So I'm saying all of that because I still don't believe in Jesus Aguilar. Honestly, I don't believe in Mexican MMA in general. And I hope that triggers some people watching this. I think that they're doing the right thing, investing in it, because boy, it needs some money. Boy, it needs some coaching. So yeah, I'm going Rafael Estevam. I think he decisions him, right? I don't think Aguilar, has Aguilar gotten knocked out? I think, he's never gotten knocked out. He is pretty durable, right? He's durable. He's not great on the ground, which I think Estevam could also take advantage of. Obviously, like, he did whatever with Nichols. But don't let that fool you. I actually think that the odds here, I think Estevam minus 270. Minus 270. Oh! Wow. Maybe Jesus Aguilar might be live. Might be a live dog here. I mean, maybe just like value pick, right? Like, I don't know if that number is warranted. That's $100 off the line that I would. I mean, yeah, like 200 for Rafael Estevam, 210. Like, definitely did not think he would be that much of a favorite. Minus 270. I could see a minus 300, but minus 485. Oh, yeah. Bonfim. I forgot to talk about that. Bonfim is the favorite? 2-1 favorite against Chaos Williams. Oh, you know that pisses Chaos off. That's wild. They probably think that he's going to, like, take him down. That Chaos has, like, no chance with him on the ground, and he probably gets tapped. But I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how much of the difference between Angelusa and Chaos Williams wrestling there really is. Anyways, Rafael Estevam is the pick. He decisions him. Moving on, we got Jared Gordon taking on Jared Wrestling Room Gordon. We got Mashirabjan Ruziboev. I don't know. I need to find out what the Ruziboev, like Nursultan and this guy's dad, I need to find out what he does. Because he's got both his sons in the UFC, and I think Nursey definitely has UFC talent. Don't get me wrong. However, this guy, I don't know. And it's a hard pick. I'm actually gonna let's look. I'm not gonna do the pick yet. I'm not gonna do the pick yet because I want to look at the odds. I actually do want to look at the odds here. Jared Gordon minus 300. That does make sense, and that was what I was gonna say. I mean, I was already kind of leaning into that. He decisions him. He paces him. It's Jared Gordon is still not old enough for this to happen, and I will say this: Nursey, beloved. I picked him against Buckley. Right. That shows you. That shows you my bias. He rocks the funny hat. I rode that train. I believe in his talent. I think he's got crazy boxing. He's long for 170 or 185. 185. No, 170. Yes, Nursey's 170. However, this younger brother, he did not get the genetic lottery. And I don't know. I definitely always kind of put a buyer beware with these guys from the Stan area, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan. They're either going to be a bag of hot air or they're going to be world beaters. There's no in between. And yeah, I think that he is a bag of air. I think that there is some nepotism going on here. Maybe Dana did something over there. Maybe he's like weapons trading. I don't know. That's all that goes on over there anyway. So yeah, I am going with Jared Gordon. He decisions him. I think that this is also maybe I don't know why. I think that this is like a pretty, I don't know how even of a fight this truly is. So I think it's like if you want to get Jared Gordon out of the UFC, he's probably not the guy to put him up with. So then it makes me believe that Dana has some sort of marketing behind Jared Gordon. And then I think about my own sort of soft spot for Jared Gordon. And then I'm like, am I a product of the PSYOP? Am I the consumer of this PSYOP? I absolutely am. Jared Gordon's going to win. Moving on. This is a great fight. This is a great fight. Angela Sweet Dreams Hill. Angela Sugar Hill. Come on, respect. Taking on Ketlin Souza. This is definitely, I like this fight just because I think, well, I'll start off with how many barbecues have Angela and I been to? How many cookouts have we attended together? We go back to the 80s. I mean, we've been doing this. On the other side, right? I have somebody here that I predicted correctly would heat check Jasmine Jauregui, right? And she absolutely did that. But did I say that because I had any sort of belief in her talent and her star power or her ability to climb the ranks? No, absolutely not. So the pick is easy here. I don't know. They are definitely giving Ketlin Souza way too much here. Way too much. And I think that they're maybe believing that Jauregui knockout, the knockout she got over her a little bit too much. Or it's on the other side. They're just trying to hype up Angela's, because they know that there's also guys like me that want to throw the Kangol hat on, want to fire up the grill, want to put on some Marvin Gaye, that love Angela. And they believe in everything that she does and her growth. She's 38 years old, but it looks like she's still developing. She's coming off some tough losses, I believe. Tough loss to Tabitha. But hey, that's a Tabitha Ricci that I think, first of all, is reaching her prime and is definitely going to be a stalwart in the top 15. So, and then look what she did with Luana, who's a very strong, younger fighter. So there's no reason to believe Denise, she beats Denise. Denise is somebody that I believe can also be a contender one day. So I'm all over Angela here. I think that it's sort of, Actually, I'm figuring it out here. I think that this is a vengeance play on Ketlin for not following the script in Mexico and letting Jauregui dance on her head. Moving on, Jose Delgado taking on Special Forces SF Marsoc, Green Beret, head of HSA, Tier 1 elite unit, detail block program out of Fort Bragg. Connor Matthews, who got lit up by our boy Sarah Longo guy, who's like the most unpredictable dude. He either sucks or he's good. Oh fuck, how am I blanking on his name? Anyways, he got his ass kicked by that dude who finally showed him levels. Butka, but no, not Butka. It's Bazooka. Butka's fighting on this card. Yeah, he got lit up. I think that was like the first real high level guy that Connor Matthews was put up with. However, I think that this is oh shit. Let's rewind. Angela Hill. What's the line? A pick'em. That's crazy. That is crazy. That's my okay. Value pick. This is your great value, better choice, pick of the week. Angela Hill money line. That's too easy. And yeah, moving on. Connor Matthews, and I think that Connor Matthews does win. I wouldn't be surprised if Connor himself. What is he? Oh, what? He's a underdog? I do not believe. I mean, this Jose guy is really tough, and he's younger, and he's got good striking. What am I not seeing here? I don't know. I watched this guy's Contender Series fight, and it was right, like super impressive. Like his ability to mix things up. He is so got this quick twitch sort of bop, like he's able to just come up with those knees. Obviously, he got the knockout with that one, but like because of his wrestling and his ability to take people down, he's able to kind of like fake it and he just catches people. So I know I see it, and he is LFA. Like, I mean, he's not coming from. I just didn't believe that he was Ernie. Like Ernie. I just don't know if that was like the biggest, like the most impressive the most impressive opponent. Wow, that's wild. And he is long. He's like yeah. This guy, he's like 5'11". Yeah, he is long. I thought he was long for featherweight. However, Connor matches him up there. Like, what are we? Oh, I guess he doesn't. He is a little bit more. I thought that Connor was a little bit taller, 5'8". I feel like he's a little bit bigger than that, though. I'll go with it. I'll ride. I've been in a fucking blender since the beginning of the year. I'll ride. I'll say he decisions him because Connor is pretty tough. I know that. Did Bazooka finish him? Yeah, Bazooka like started ground and pounding him. Yeah, man. I'm gonna go because I need to get out of a blender. And if I need to go from saying that I don't believe in Mexican MMA to then picking a Mexican American MMA fighter, which actually is completely different, to be honest. It's completely different. It is different. There's something about one or two generations over north of the border. I think that maybe that adds like 25 octagon IQ points. I said what I said. But I like Jose here. I'm just going to believe. I'm not saying that he wasn't super impressive in his Contender Series fight. He was doing whatever he wanted with the guy. But this is a guy, Connor Matthews has fought a lot of guys in the UFC. He's definitely more seasoned, and he's tough. So yeah, but we can move on here. Rodolfo Vieira taking on Andre Petroski. I'm going to go ahead and I think that this fight, I'm going to keep rolling with this one. I've been kind of hot on just picking who I think is going to win. and then explaining why, which I don't need to explain myself, but I'll do you the favor, my beloved, my everything. Okay, Rodolfo Vieira, I think, has probably twice better striking than Andre Petrovsky. And I think that Andre Petrovsky is going to actually go to the wrestling as like desperation, and Rodolfo Vieira is going to snatch him up. I think Rodolfo Vieira is the better BJJ player. I know that some people might say that that's not true. And have these guys like done a BJJ fight? I almost want to say, because this dude Petrovsky is always doing like those. Yeah, he just did a grappling thing. I almost want to say like they've grappled against each other. Nah, they haven't. But Rodolfo's the same way. He's also very active in that. What's the jiu-jitsu? BJJF, whatever. IJJF, whatever. I don't care. Yeah, I don't. But he's better on the ground, and and I think he's bigger. Rodolfo's kind of. I mean, I think he's just more. He's just able to. He's definitely more intelligent, I think, as a fighter than him. Yes, he ADCC. He's pretty active, right? He got Arman, which and that's why. What I saw in that fight was like, hey, if you're able to close the distance on Arman with a little bit of boxing and a little bit of range management, then you have striking. Against Brundage, he did whatever he wanted with him on the ground. But against Chris Curtis, look, like, definitely I feel like he has fought and he's had to go through the nightmare that is fighting Fluffy Hernandez. Like, so this guy, Rodolfo, I just feel like he's had better opponents and has better striking. And I think that Petrovsky knows, like, Petrovsky gets really, like, you can see the panic going into Petrovsky whenever he knows that his gas tank is like running on fumes. And then the desperation scrambling comes out. It's like, that is the last place you want to be against Rodolfo. So maybe he does just get like mauled on the feet. And then it is like, oh, wow, look at this, Rodolfo Vieira. Who would have thought? But no, I think that ultimately Rodolfo is like, let's go to the ground. You want to go to the mat? I'll get down there and slip and slide around with you. All right, moving on. Bonfim taking on Nazim Sadikov. Okay, actually, Sadikov here. Let's look. There's no way. And then I was right about Rodolfo Vieira. I didn't really even need to look at the odds about that. My bad. But yeah, Rodolfo Vieira minus 278. I think he does whatever with him on the ground. That's what they're saying. Well, this is value. No, that's okay. This is my underdog. This is my underdog. Oh, a plus 170. That's not exciting enough. Maybe I'll have another one. I don't fucking need rules. This is my barking off the collar underdog of the week, Nazim Sadikov. I think he KOs him. In the second. And we're going to start with Ismael as to why I believe this fight goes that way. Because these guys are such bags of fucking hot air, dude. Like, he is good. He is the better one. I actually think Ismael is the better of the Bonfim brothers. But I don't believe. I just don't. I don't believe. And against Vince, that's when I definitely was done. Because I know Benoit, like, that made sense. That was when Benoit was, God of War or whatever. Like, I'm French and I fought in Iraq against guys in Toyota trucks. Like, I get it. I get why that's like a loss that can happen. However, it's too much, too soon. These guys have gotten pumped up, and They are like a bit of gassers, and when things aren't going their way, they start getting, they shrivel up. I think Sadikov, now let's get to Sadikov, because this is a guy that I really believe in. I really believe in his gym. I believe in his professionalism. He just seems like he's always composed in there. He's always making sure that he's reading, that his game plan is still applicable to where the fight is going. These two guys, they share that Terrence McKinney. They both tapped out Terrence. And I just think that, yeah, I understand why the line is for Ismail here in that way. I think he's probably the better athlete. However, I don't think that he has the IQ of a Sadikov. And I think that Sadikov, I mean, yeah, that Vyacheslav, that draw, it was kind of on him, because I think it took him a little bit too long to start investing into the wrestling, because he started getting his calf chewed up by Vyacheslav. So that, I think, kind of hurt him in terms of just optics and being able to get some points in that fight. However, I just, I liked, yeah, he is a bit of a slow burner, but I liked his ability to then realize what needed to be done to overwhelm his opponent to get him, a route to victory. And I think that against Bonfim here, he is going to be smaller. I think that is going to be a worry of mine, because he's probably like 5'10", 5'9". Yeah, 5'10", and Bonfim's probably like a clean 6 foot. And he's wide. He's got some wide shoulders. What? Am I tripping? 5'8". Yeah. I don't know if that's true. They might just be the exact same height, honestly, once they get in there. But I like Sadikov. I think Sadikov knocks him out. No, he's never been knocked out, and he is durable enough. He decisions him. And that'll be tough, though, because you know that Dana's going to be like, the twins. It's like in the circuses, they used to have the Siamese twins. It's like my circus. It has these Brazilian absolute fraudsters that they're like Siamese twins. And what grosses you out about them is like how much they gas and don't have a game plan. Like, yeah. So I don't need to explain myself anymore. Sadikov is the pick. Moving on, we have Edmen Shahbazyan taking on Dylan Budka. Dude, Dylan Budka, I don't know what he did, like what kind of humiliation ritual contract he signed, but this dude keeps getting matched up with guys that are way too good for him to fight. Like, and 2 out of 3. 2 out of the 3, because I'm a Petrosky denier. I do not believe, brother. Somebody have to check this black belt. But dude, look at this. Oh, I guess, why did I imagine that he fought somebody else? Anyways, Cesar Almeida. Oh, well, yes. Edmen Shahbazyan's the second. Yeah, Edmen and Cesar Almeida in your first 3 fights in the UFC, probably not the most fun thing. However, Edmen is also coming off that comeback loss from GM3. Like, he was picking him apart and then gets caught and absolutely strangled. Like, wild. I'm going to go Edmen. I think he KOs him in the first. I think he KOs him in the first. I think that Edmen is like a very solid striker, but he's young, and like I think he's still growing into who he needs to be. And I actually think that GM3 fight probably helped him. He's got a solid gym. It's Couture, Extreme Couture, Nick Sick. And Nick Sick is definitely foaming at the mouth. I don't know if you guys saw, like, he's just throwing Sean under the bus now. Like, so this gym needs to get their get back. And I think that they do. I think Budka signed the wrong contract with the Illuminati or whatever. Devil is a lie. And I think that Edmond gets him out of there pretty quickly. I think that this is going to be, if the odds are anywhere like remotely close. Yeah, exactly. I think it should be more. I think that if you have the money, go ahead and bet. Just bet. Let's see what Shabazian KO is. I wonder if they even have that out though. Oh yeah, Edmond by KO. That's good value. Plus 125. And it's telling you what you need to know. It's telling you what you need to know there, right? It's the most likely outcome. I think that's solid. I don't really know what the route to victory is for Budka because he's supposed to be like this wrestler, like, you know, like, oh, I was a criminal and a wrestler. But he doesn't even wrestle well, so I don't know what that's about. All right, we can move on. Calvin Kattar taking on Youssef Zalal. Youssef went and got Neuralink input into his brain and completely just remade himself as a fighter. Has come back to the UFC and is on a 3-fight win streak. I think 3 absolutely convincing wins, 2 of them by decision, or no, all 3 by finishes. I was going to say finishes. Yeah, man. Not and right. Jack Shore's an idiot. Like, Jack Shore shouldn't be in the UFC. No, not an idiot. He's a wonderful man. He's a wonderful man, and I'm sure that if he ever needed anything from Drywall, we'd help him out, just like we do with all the other fighters. I just don't think he's UFC level. I think that he'd be a great coach. And however, Yarno and Billy, those were solid wins that Youssef made quick work out of them. And Billy, like, I think he actually has started the downfall of Billy. Like, I think Youssef was the first one to break him. And so this new Zalal that just is like a savant on the ground is really exciting, and it's definitely the kryptonite of Calvin Kattar. It's kind of messed up that the UFC, I mean, I get it because I think that this gym that Calvin Kattar comes out of, they're all just a bunch of strikers. I think it's like Font, him, some other guys. And they're all just strikers, and they're so bad on the ground. I think that this is just the UFC continuing to just heat check that their abilities in that realm. And so I like Zalal. I think Zalal decisions him. Let's say he decisions him. Just because I like the guy and that I need to be out here absolutely putting my stink on him. Just been in a blender this year. Just been in a blender since the beginning of the year. Not seeing the crystal ball as clearly. But, you know, they don't pay me to be right. They pay me to take over. Like, simple as that. So I do like Zalal. I think he's able to keep Kattar on the ground, overwhelm him, and he doesn't have. He's a great kickboxer. So I think that it is Zalal. I would say Zalal is probably a minus 200, minus 470. That is steep. Man, some of these lines are really, really like lopsided. I mean, yeah, Zalal's the pick, but do you want to actually put down minus 470? Interesting. By minus 5.5. That also tells you something. They really think he's gonna smudge him. It's just gonna smudge him, dude. But yeah, I think that is what happens. I think it's a little bloated, the line, but it makes sense. All right, let's finish off. Jared, the Killer Gorilla Cannonier, taking on Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez. This needs no explanation. This doesn't need anybody to say anything about it. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. He's tougher. He's stronger. He's at that point in his career. He's bigger. Bigger is better. Trust me. I mean, I'm not, and that being said, Jared Cannonier is still a dog. Jared Cannonier this is why they're matching him up with a Gregory. They want to test his mettle. But he is coming off some losses. Some might say that Imavov stoppage was a little early, but I don't think it was. I think he was out. He was out on his feet. But this guy, he can still put it on. And he can still find the chin of guys that it's hard to find their chin, and Sean Strickland. And tough guys like Marvin Vettori. So this is not, I'm not saying this is the end of Jared Cannonier. He is 40 years old, though. And I think it could be the beginning of the end. It's not the end, but I think it's the beginning of the end. Because this is a matchup that is not giving anybody any any treats. Like, this is not hey Jared, thanks for everything you've done for us, buddy. This is hey, I think it might be time to take you out back. I think it's a tough fight. I mean, no, I say that. I think he knocks him out in the first round, but I think that it's going to be a fast, exciting, intense fight where I think even Jared has moments of success. But Gregory is undeniable. I mean, this is my black horse, my dark horse in the middleweight division. Like, I just think he's and his base is BJJ. This is a world class BJJ player, like a top level. He's won world championships, so maybe he even taps him. I don't know. I am gonna go with Gregory Rodriguez. RoboCop, license and registration, please. And there you have it. Actually, let's look at the line before we tune out. Am I right? Yes, I'm right. -225, Rodriguez. Makes sense. And they want that under 2.5, right? So makes sense what I'm saying here. And there we have it. We're back in Vegas, back where we belong, the grimy fight nights with the plebeians, with the plebs. And as always, Drywallers, it was a pleasure. Like, comment, subscribe. Show us, put in there who you guys think is gonna win. I need to upload as a reminder. Be on the lookout for some UFC Seattle videos, little mini series that we're gonna do previewing that. It's coming up in the next week or so. It's gonna be really exciting. A lot of great names on that card. But yeah, as always, Drywallers, I'm Dan Delight. Happy to have you. It's gonna be a great fight night. And you know what they say. I don't need your love. I just need your heart.